What's up everyone, my name's Alpha and today we're back with another Pokemon challenge video. Today we're on Pokemon Moon and today's challenge can I beat Pokemon Moon Hardcore Nuzlocke using only blue color shiny Pokemon. We just done a red color shiny not too long ago, so I decided to go with a blue shiny color Hardcore Nuzlocke this time around. Try to get out the primary colors. Pretty sure they're primary colors, I'm not an art major. Besides that, it's gonna be a hardcore Nuzlocke. It's gonna be fun. Let's get into the rules real quick of it. So it's gonna be a hardcore Nuzlocke using only blue shiny Pokemon. Firstly, I can only catch one Pokemon per route. They have to be shiny and they must be blue as well, and they have to be majority blue as well. I can't just have blue eyes or something when they're shiny. They have to be majority blue, and each of the Pokemon I actually catch on my team, they only have one life, so if they do die, they will be dead forever. I have to box them. As well, on top of that, there's a level cap for each. Well, we're playing on Alola, so each island kahuna, so all the kahuna fights will have level caps for them. Have to play on set mode as well, and there are no items inside the battle besides hell items, so it's gonna be pretty difficult and it's gonna be pretty fun as well. On top of that, final rule of our challenge video, each of my Pokemon will be nicknamed after you guys in the comments, so thanks so much for leaving a nickname in my previous challenge video. If you guys want to be nicknamed after your future Pokemon in my future challenge video, just drop in the comments and hopefully I'll pick yours. And while you're down there, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, let's get into the challenge video itself. So to begin off, I haven't played Pokemon Moon in a little bit, so I'm actually kind of rusty, and I forgot that we have to shiny hunt for a starter Pokemon, because of course we do, so I actually don't miss playing Pokemon Moon that much. Unfortunately for us, we have to shiny hunt for an Alolan starter, and you guys know how these turn out. Lucky enough, I do have a digital copy, a special digital copy of Pokemon Moon, where I can actually put up the speed as high as I want, and it'll actually speed up as well. So the task of actually shiny hunting for a starter isn't too difficult, as the attack speed is actually kind of fast. We eventually find ourselves a Popplio, which is gonna be very dark blue, very dark blue. Some might consider it purple, but I consider it very dark blue. Popplio is our first member on our team, and it's a pretty good Pokemon. Actually, since I started playing Hardcore Nuzlocke, my favorite starter Pokemon has actually changed in Alola. It used to be Incineroar, now it's actually Popplio's line. My favorite starter Pokemon for Alola. There's not a lot of difficult fights in the beginning because Popplio makes it so easy, but the trainer school is pretty difficult. The teacher here, very difficult. Look enough, we have a fairy move to knock out the Meowth. We're able to do that, as well as Alima's not too easy, but we got very lucky at the end with Torrent Boost. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what would happen if I actually died in that battle. It's not like at the start of the game, but look enough, we don't have to worry about that because we beat Alima. Next up, we're gonna head into Route 2 next. Route 2 is gonna be the next area we're able to find our next shiny Pokemon. We skip Route 1, we're gonna come back to it in a little bit. We're able to find ourselves a shiny Meowth, and it's just decently blue. This is actually dark blue. We're gonna add this Meowth on our team, and a Alola Meowth. Interesting, I haven't used one too often. And as well, we're gonna head into the cemetery and we're gonna find ourselves a Ghastly here. Now Ghastly's actually a pretty common encounter in here, so it's gonna be very easy. Now I can't evolve Ghastly all the way. Technically I can evolve a good amount of ways. I could evolve it into a Haunter because it's still kind of blue, but once it's a Gengar, I'm pretty sure it's purple. We can't use Ghastly for our entire run because it's gonna turn obviously purple, but Ghastly's pretty blue in this. It's very on the border right now already, but it's kind of blue. We're gonna add the Ghastly onto our team and then face off against the first totem fight. Our first totem fight is gonna be against this Eradicate. This Alolan Totem Eradicate is gonna be our first trial, and we're gonna start the battle off against him using my Popplio to Baby Doll Eyes to lower his attack stat, and this will actually cause him, for some reason, he just starts missing all his moves after this, as well as the Rattata. The Rattata couldn't hit me at all as well, so eventually I get him down to low HP, and I felt comfortable with switching out into my Meowth. Now I did this so I can split up the XP the Rattata gives me, and I don't get over the level cap. That's pretty good to keep in mind of. As next up, we're going to face off against Hala next. Hala is the first kahuna in the game, and he's going to start the battle off against us using a Mankey. I start the battle off against him using my Popplio. Pretty good choice for me because I can just use a bunch of disarming boys. I'm able to get him down to half HP and then tackle him just so I can make sure I can knock him out with the following hit. I am able to knock out the Mankey, and then he's going to switch out to his Makuhita, which I'm able to go into my Ghastly. Now Ghastly completely counters the Makuhita, forcing him to switch out into his Crabrawler, which works out because I'm able to Hypnosis down the Crabrawler, instill a Curse into him, recover my HP as well, and then the Crabrawler has to hopefully still stays asleep as I switch back out into my Popplio, and luckily enough it still stays asleep. It gets hit with the curse, and one more sleep turn will actually work. It doesn't matter if my Popplio goes down. I'm hoping it doesn't, as it actually wakes up and uses Leer for some reason instead of his Z move, so everything kind of works out in my favor. as we're able to knock out the Crabrawler, and then his final Pokemon will be a Makuhita. Now the reason why I say Popplio dying doesn't actually matter is because once Popplio evolves, it's not really blue at all ever, so we can't actually use Popplio past the first stage. So it doesn't matter if my Popplio goes down. Ideally we don't lose Popplio here, which we didn't, as we're able to beat Hala, but I just don't want to add death on my death counter. But from there we finish our first grand trial, and now we can move out and shiny hunt for a bunch of more Pokemon. Now we go back into Route 1 and we're able to shiny hunt in this hidden passage right outside of the grand trial, and we're able to search out for our next shiny Pokemon. Now in the grass right here, you're able to find yourselves a Munchlax in here, which is actually so good as a Pokemon. Not only that it's a blue shiny, it evolves into Snorlax, which is a great Pokemon, but also that it will always have leftovers as an item, so we can actually grind it out and we could catch more Munchlaxes afterwards and get a bunch more leftovers for ourselves if we needed to. So from there, once we get our Munchlax, we're actually going to go back into the outskirts of Melee Island, into this hidden passage where you're able to find yourselves a shiny Rockruff, which is also very blue. So we're able to find ourselves a Rockruff added to our team as well. Now once that's done, my Popplio is going to evolve into a Brioni, and Brioni is it's very clearly purple, so we have to box that, and we lose our starter already as we move out into Akala Island. Next up, we're going to head into the Ranchers area, and we're able to shiny hunt in the grass over here. In this grass, you're able to find yourselves in a 5% encounter rate. You're able to find yourselves a shiny Miltank, which, I mean, I invite this the whole time. I mean, it's very blue. This is a weird looking picture right now. Blue Rockruff and blue Miltank looks funny. But we're able to find ourselves a Miltank, which I haven't used in a long time. So we're going to add that to our team. And from there, we're actually going to go back into Route 4 as well. In Route 4, we're able to find ourselves another shiny Pokemon as well. We're going to shiny hunt for a shiny Eevee. Now, the reason we want to shiny hunt for an Eevee, even though it's not blue to begin with, its evolution is going to be blue. So we're going to evolve it into an Umbreon or a Sylveon. More likely a Sylveon because it's better. But those are two blue evolutions when they're evolved. So we're going to have that on our team as well. So it's going to be pretty nice as we're going to head into the next totem fight in the game. We're going to face off against this totem Wishy-Washy. We're going to start the battle off against this totem Wishy-Washy with my Miltank. Now, I went for a rollout because I thought I would do a lot more damage and it would actually use Soak on this first turn. He did not use Soak. The Wishy-Washy decided to use Water Gun and actually crit me in the process. So unfortunately, I am stuck in rollout now, and he used Growl. He's never used Soak. He used every single move possible except Soak. So I'm just kind of stuck here, and I'm slowly chipping away at him. Eventually, I actually knock out the totem Wishy-Washy. Unfortunately, though, the Wishy-Washy, the tiny one, is actually going to knock me out as I'm at 1 HP. And yeah, so he eventually knocks me out. My Miltank's down, so I have 1 death on my death counter. I even switched out to my Rockruff because I was like, what am I doing? Terrible place after terrible place as we're able to beat down the Wishy-Washy, the mini one, and we're able to clear through the water totem, which is unfortunate. We lose our Miltank, but we could go back into the Brooklyn Hills and we could shiny hunt in the water next. At least we could shiny hunt for something in the water. We're able to find ourselves 2 different shiny Pokemons in here. Doesn't matter which one we find first. We could find a Poliwag or a Psyduck. Doesn't matter. Lucky enough, we find ourselves a Psyduck actually. So actually pretty decent Pokemon. So it works out, you know, even though we lose a Pokemon, we still gained one. We catch ourselves a Psyduck and then quickly evolve my Rockruff into a Lycanroc. I forgot Rockruff actually evolves based on the version you're playing, not actually the nighttime or daytime. So we're playing Moon, so we have to get the Midnight form. And the Midnight and also Midday forms are both blue. This is how I found out that the Midnight form is actually blue as well. I was actually looking forward into using a Midday form, but you know what? I like this Lycanroc. It's kind of cool. From there, we're going to head into the Fire Totem next. The Fire Totem trial is going to be pretty easy as we clear through the Trainer and also the Marowak, and then face off against the Salazzle next. The Salazzle is going to be a very easy fight. As you see, I start the battle off against him using my Lycanroc, 1 Rock Tomb, and I outspeed the Salazzle somehow. So I'm able to Rock Tomb and then knock out the Salazzle. And that was without any boost or any hell items too. So we're able to knock out the Salazzle in 1 shot. Play with our Eevee a little bit. Does not do anything. We're actually able to evolve our Munchlax into a Snorlax and then head out into the Grass Totem next. Now the Grass Trial is going to be pretty easy since we have a Snorlax now. It's super tanky as a Pokemon. We're going to start the battle off against the Lurantis using my Snorlax. We're able to Body Slam into it multiple times. We actually get a crit on the 2nd turn, which actually works out pretty well for us because I don't know if this would have gone my way. It doesn't look like it was working out because it doesn't do a lot of damage and it didn't get paralyzed the 1st turn, but we get a crit, knock out the Lurantis, and then all we have to do is Rock Tomb twice into the Cast form to knock him out, and we end up clearing through the grass totem as well. So from there, I decide to replace my Haunter at this point because we're getting to the middle game, the mid part of the game, where a lot more Pokemon are fully evolved, and it's going to be a bit tiresome to use a Haunter that's not that good. So I decided to box the Haunter and then search out for our next shiny Pokemon. Now we want to go fishing in Kaylee's Beach, I believe, or Kaylee's Bay. The reason we want to go here and fish is because we can find ourselves a Shelter. Now Shelter is actually not a blue shiny Pokemon, but once it evolves into a Cloyster, and Cloyster is actually shiny itself. So once we clear through that, we have access into a Waterstone, and we can buy Waterstone. So we can go out and shiny hunt in these specific water areas, in these fishing areas, and we're able to find ourselves a shiny Shelter, add it to our team, and evolve it quickly as well. From there, we can move on and face off against Olivia next. Olivia is going to be the rock type kahuna in the game. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Psyduck. Now Psyduck has a very strong move called Scald, and it's getting actually 2-shot into the nose pass, which is really nice for us. We got unfortunately Thunder Wave, but you know what, it works out as we're able to get a burn on the Boldore as well. So my Psyduck's able to knock out the Boldore, and with my digital copy of this Pokemon game of Sun and Moon, we're actually able to flip the days so we could respawn berry trees. So we get a bunch more of those Figgy Berries and the Wiki Berries because we could respawn them instantly. But from there, we could go out into my Snorlax against the Lycanroc with his Continental Crush. It's not going to do a lot of damage to me, surprisingly, as we're able to survive it, do a lot of damage to him, and then switch out into my own Lycanroc and then counter him to knock him out, and we're able to beat down Olivia. Finish the second grand trial in the game, evolve our Meowth into a Persian as well. Huge plays out of us. Now from there, we're going to play with our Eevee once again, and finally, it gets happy enough that I can evolve it into a Sylveon. Finally. Took me long enough. From there, we're going to face off against the Electric Totem in the game, and it's going to be very easy. I start the battle off against him using my Midnight Lycanroc, and I'm able to rock him twice into the Vigavolt to knock him out, and then one more time to the Charger Bug, and the totem's done. So I don't think anyone's ever talked about this Electric Totem like that. I don't think anyone said it's good or anything. People just gloss over it. From there, we're going to face off against the hardest totem, in my opinion, the Mimikyu Totem, the Ghost Totem. So we're going to start the battle off against him using my Snorlax. We're able to bulldoze into the Mimikyu, lower its speed, and then I'm going to switch out to my Sylveon immediately. Now the reason why I did this is because I wanted to use Charm. It actually gets Cute Charm, so there's 2 charms on him. The Mimikyu refuses to attack multiple times, and then I'm able to charm him down as well, lowers attack stat. I eventually figure out this is the best strategy, just to lower the attack stat of the Mimikyu, because it's just so strong. I'm able to lower it enough. I get put to sleep by the Haunter, but I switch out to my Lycanroc. I unfortunately knock out the Haunter, so it's actually getting called for help and called for Gengar. But eventually, I'm able to do a lot of damage to the Mimikyu, switch out to my Persian, and then Shadow Claw into the Mimikyu to knock him out, which is a huge play. And now, all we have to do is struggle against the Gengar, which is unfortunate. So, we're going to struggle against him for a little bit. Eventually, we're going to come out top using my Golduck with Psychic. We're able to beat down the Ghost Totem pretty easily. From there, we can move out, face off against Guzma next. Guzma almost destroys my Lycanroc because I miss a Rock Slide. So I gotta be careful of that going forwards. But we're able to beat down Guzma, move out, face off against Nanu next. Nanu is a dark type kahuna of the island, and we're gonna start the battle off against him using my Sylveon, obviously. Sylveon has nothing to worry about as it's a fairy type and all of his Pokemon are really weak. We're able to Moonblast, one shot to Sableye, which is very nice. His next Pokemon will be a Crocorock, which swaggers me. Kinda annoying that he's faster than me, Sylveon, but we're able to Moonblast into him and knock him out as well. Take an Earthquake pretty well. We snapped out of confusion, knock out the Crocorock. His final Pokemon will be an Alolan Persian, which he doesn't do a lot of damage to me. He goes for Power Gem, Moonblast one-shots him, and we're able to beat down Nanu. Super easy battle. From there, the level cap will increase, which is very nice for us. As we move out into the Aether Foundation, which isn't too difficult, we clear out all the Aether Foundations and Guzma as well. And then we face off against Lusamine next. Snorlax has this cool move called Belly Drum, and it learns it naturally. We're able to Belly Drum in front of the Clefable, and then rest up and then sweep her entire team pretty easily. And we clear through Lusamine. From there, we can move out into the next and final kahuna fight in the game. We're going to face off against Hapu next. Hapu is going to be the ground type kahuna in the game. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Golduck. Now, this is actually pretty good. I love Golduck. Kind of sucks that Golduck doesn't see a lot of screen time, but I just love Golduck. Golduck's able to Scald, one-shot the Duck Trio. Now, she sends out her Mudsdale next. I was thinking about switching out to take the Tectonic Rage, but actually, I just stayed in because I have a Mystic Water on, and I decided Skull was good enough. So, Skull one-shots the Mudsdale, actually, and then from there, she can switch out into her Flygon, I stayed in, I tried to do some damage, it kept missing. All my Hydro Pumps keep missing, so I decided to switch out into my Sylveon, and luckily enough Sylveon's able to knock out the Flygon, but unfortunately against the Gastrodon, it's at a standstill. It doesn't do enough damage to me, I recovered too much HP with my leftovers, and I can't do enough damage to him because it recovers too much recover. So I decided to eventually switch out to my Snorlax, and Snorlax able to body slam and eventually knock out the Gastrodon for me. And yeah, that would do it as we're able to beat down Hapu, clear through the final grand trial in the game, move out and face off against the final totem trial. We're gonna face off against this Como, and you can see how this goes. You know, I have a Sylveon. Sylveon is probably the most broken Pokemon ever made, especially for single player, and Moonblast is just a broken move. You don't need any other move. I don't think I use any other move or any other offensive move on Sylveon. We're able to one-shot Moonblast into the Como, and I was like, wait, isn't there a Scizor normally? No, I killed him too fast to even let him spawn in any helping Pokemon. But from there, we're going to face off against Lusamine next. I always thought Lusamine was a hard fight back in the day, but you just set up with Clefable. You know, the first time I ever played Sun and Moon, I was like, oh, this is a hard fight. You just set up against the the setup father. We go for workups in front of the Clefable. Workup is like the first TM you get in the game too. Lucky for her, she actually gets a Lunar Dance, so her Clefable goes down and stops me from setting up anymore. But, yeah, I mean, kind of damage has been done. Her Lilligant actually outspeeds me, which is unfortunate. It stun spores me, but I'm able to Moonblast and knock him out in one shot. And then we're at another Gastrodon situation where the Malate comes out. I'm unable to knock her out, but she's unable to do any damage to me either. So we're at a standstill. She needs to recover each turn, but each turn I need to hit her, I get paralyzed. So eventually I am able to knock out the Malate. Her next Pokemon will be a Bewear, which I swear it had a stronger move. I swear it had Double Edge, but it tried to go for a Hammer Arm and it missed. And we eventually one-shot the Bewear as well. And then her next Pokemon will be a Miss Magius, and we cleared through that pretty easily. So we end up clearing through Lusamine, and now we're going to try to catch this Lunala with a Quick Ball. It didn't work, but I was really hopeful. I always love Lunala over Solgaleo. Just normally, it's just so cool looking. Have you ever seen the shiny form? I'm not too sure if you could get the shiny form of Lunala ever, but it's just so cool. The red on it, so cool. From there, we're going to move out past Alola's Victory Road, which is like 20 seconds inside of a cave. Face off both our rivals. Beat them pretty easily, and then start remembering some moves. We taught Shell Smash onto our Cloyster, which is going to come in handy pretty well. It's going to be really good. From there, we're going to move out, go into the Pokemon League, and then start a challenge against the Elite Four. Now, our first Elite Four member we're going to face off against is going to be Hala. Hala is going to be the fighting type Elite Four member in the game. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Sylveon. Now, surprisingly, Sylveon, it doesn't go down to Hariyama. It doesn't come close to going down to Hariyama. But it doesn't actually one-shot the Hariyama, which I'm like, wow, that's kind of bad. I'm not gonna lie. So I decided to go for a Charm against the Hariyama and then start using Workup. I was hoping if I got enough Charms on the Hariyama, I could start recovering HP faster. Unfortunately, Close Combat just does a little too much, where Leftover is actually getting negated. So I had to actually knock him out with a Moonblast, and then his next Pokemon will be a Crabominable, which actually works out for me. Moonblast, outspeed, knock him out, and then I actually outspeed the Poliwrath as well, so surprised by that. One shot the Poliwrath, and then the Primate goes for a Cross Chop. It crits me, but it's not enough as we're able to knock him out, and his final Pokemon will be a Bewear, which I'm able to go for a Moonblast and knock him out as well, and we end up beating Hala pretty easily. Now next up, we're going to face off against Olivia next. Olivia is going to be a Rock-type Kahuna in the game. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Golduck. Now Golduck's able to just go for 2 Skulls and knock out the Relicanth pretty easily. Okay, and then her next Pokemon will be a Golem. I was thinking about it. I was thinking about using Skull just to risk it, but it wasn't worth it. I decided to go and use my better judgment, go out to my Persian and do some chip damage with Dark Pulse. If I get one flinch, I'm able to knock him out with my Persian. If not, I just switch back into my Golduck, which isn't too bad either way. I'm able to switch back into my Golduck and go for a Scald, knock out the Golem, and her next Pokemon will be a Lycanroc, which I go out into my Snorlax. Obviously, you know, back in the day, we just go for our Snorlax just to tank the Continental Crush. It works out pretty well, but I am scared that it's going to knock me out with like a Stone Edge or something. So I move out to my Lycanroc. It misses the Stone Edge, and then we start having a Stone Edge off. Her Stone Edge does a lot of damage, as in does a lot more than me's. I decided to eat my berry, and then go for a Brick Break. 2 Brick Breaks would knock out the Lycanroc, as we're able to beat down her Ace. And then her next one will be a Probopass, which actually is the best situation for me, as I go out to my Snorlax, I take the hit, eat my berry, and then I could go for, I don't know why I went for Body Slam out of everything, but I went for Body Slam. He paralyzed me, and then I decided to go for a Rest against him, Eventually, I am able to just knock him out with 2 high horsepowers, and her next Pokemon will be a Carbink. I body slam it to paralyze it, and then high horsepower to get it down. So we're able to beat down the Carbink as well as we beat down Olivia, and that's 2 Elite Four members down already. Next up, we're gonna move out and face off against Accelera. Now, our main Pokemon to look out for in this fight is gonna be Persian. So, ironically, I didn't use Persian for a little bit. Start the battle off against Accelera using my Sylveon to Moonblast into her Sableye, which honestly she should have just had a Spirit. I don't know why she had a Sableye, but we're able to Moonblast, knock out the Sableye. Her next Pokemon will be a Frostlass, which I decided to go out into my Snorlax, thinking it might have Dick Fat, and from the damage, it doesn't look like I have Dick Fat, I'm not gonna lie. I'm able to Rock Tomb twice into the Frostlass to knock him out, so Frostlass goes down. Her next Pokemon will be a Delmise, and then finally I can switch out into the main Pokemon of the show, our Persian. Persian's able to go for a Nasty Plot and then take an Energy Ball. Not too well, but Dark Pulse will for sure knock out the Delmise. And then her next Pokemon will be a Palossand, which I am able to go for a Dark Pulse, knock him out as well. Her final Pokemon will be a Drifloon, which thankfully for the AI, it doesn't actually have a good AI, it doesn't ever attack me. So it just uses every single setup move possible, and we're able to just Dark Pulse him, eventually knock him out, knock out the Drifloon, and then we're done with Accelera. Next up, we're going to face out against Kahili next. Kahili's going to be the Flying type Elite Four member of the game. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Golduck. Now, the reason I use Golduck is actually just to knock out the Skarmory, because Skarmory has such a high physical defense that I don't really trust my Cloyster to do some damage. So we're going to make sure we knock out the Skarmory using my Golduck. Now, from there, she can switch out to her Manabus. I'm going to do some chip damage until she gets low on HP. Actually, until I get low on HP. And then I'm going to switch out my Golduck into my Cloyster. Cloyster is able to set up a Shell Smash and also live a Brave Bird pretty easily. And then I could go for an Icicle Spirit, knock out the Manabus pretty easily. Her next Pokemon will be a Toucannon, which I go for, obviously, an Icicle Spear. I have Skill Link as an ability by default, so it works out for me. My Cloyster is actually pretty good. We're able to knock out the Toucannon. I completely forgot the Oricorio was part Fire type, so luckily enough, the neutral damage is enough to knock him out. And her final Pokemon will be a Crobat, which I'm able to outspeed, knock out in a few hits. And we're able to beat down Kahili pretty easily. So we use every single Pokemon in this Elite Four run so far. Next up, we're going to face off against the champion in the game. We're going to face off against Professor Kukui next. And I've always said this. This is the hardest champion fight. I think so. I'm pretty sure this is the hardest champion fight. But anyways, we're going to start the battle off against him using my Golduck. Now, he starts with a Lycanroc, a midday Lycanroc actually. So we're going to go for a Skull. He sets up Stealth Rocks, which is kind of annoying, but it's fine. I go for a Skull, knock out the Lycanroc with a crit. I don't think it matters. His next Pokemon will be a Magnezone, which actually walls my entire team. I decided to go to my Snorlax because it's a special defense wall. Assumingly that it's going to actually tank every hit. I went out to him as well, and unfortunately, this Magnezone does too much damage. He gets a Thunderbolt off against me. I get paralyzed, so I can't do anything. He goes for a Thunderbolt again. I get paralyzed, so I have to go for a rest here. Doesn't knock me out, which is good. But I have to rest up anyways, and then he's gonna go for more Thunderbolts. I have to wake up. I have to go for a high horsepower. I can't keep using rest. Technically, I can keep using rest, but I can't keep using rest. I have to unfortunately stack my Snorlax here, and Snorlax goes down. The Magnezone does get a KO on me as I go out to my Lycanroc. Brick Break will knock out the Magnezone for us though, and his next Pokemon will be his own Snorlax. I go for 2 bulk ups against him, and it actually works out pretty well for me as his Heavy Slam isn't able to knock me out. At this point, I should have gone for a third one after my berry, but I go for a Brick Break, seeing if I could kill him. It doesn't kill him as he's on red HP, so 2 more Brick Breaks would knock him out. Eventually, we're able to knock out the Snorlax, and his next Pokemon will be a Decidueye. I'm able to go for a Stone Edge actually and land it, knock him out with a +2 attack stat. So we're able to knock out Decidueye, which is pretty good for me. And then his next Pokemon will be a Ninetales. I just sacked my Lycanroc. I don't think I can switch into him. So I was just playing it safe at this point. I switch out to my Sylveon next. Sylveon actually walls him pretty easily. As you can see, 2 Moonblasts would knock him out. I survive a Blizzard, ironically, easily, but I just didn't want to risk it. So we're able to Moonblast, knock out the Ninetales, and his final Pokemon will be a Braviary, which I should have gone for a Charm. I was thinking of it in the moment too, but I was like, you know what, I just need damage. I just want to get this battle over with because we're basically done. This Bravery takes a little bit of my time because it just starts living every single move. It gets my Persian down on low HP. Eventually, I gotta switch him out into my Cloyster, and Cloyster is able to Ice Cold Spear and knock out the Braviary for me. We're able to knock him out and become the champions of Alola, the first ever champion of Alola. And look at this, 3 deaths. 3 deaths is not too bad for a Sun and Moon run, especially one that I caused myself at the very beginning of the game, where I just let my Miltank die for no reason. So sorry, I was actually excited to use the milk tank. It's supposed to be my wall. Unfortunately, I let my milk tank down. But anyways, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you guys can, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, my name's been Alpha. Hope you guys all had a great day, and I'm out. Peace.